Hey everyone, it's Eric Silvermoon. Thank you so much for joining me again in one of these videos. I have so much fun actually creating these. I know I haven't been on camera in a while, actually a couple of weeks, but I went on vacation. I went to Vegas with Eric, and it was nice. It wasn't, I wouldn't say like R&R, because we did a lot of sightseeing, a lot of walking, a lot of exercise, and so at the end I was really exhausted. So I don't know if I would say it was like a R&R kind of vacation, but it was a nice break from the norm. So I really appreciated that kind of little adventure that we took for a whole week. So that was really nice. But yeah, so I still have been drawing and painting as much as possible, mostly doodling and creating little sketches and trying to get ideas. I've also been watching a lot of different kind of YouTube videos and tutorials from different artists, different kind of art, not only necessarily drawing, but also like sculpting and people playing with different lighting effects, and just to get a broad spectrum of what's out there and what I could kind of take and use and put into my art and see how that might improve. But this week I was kind of excited and also a little bit nervous, because it was my first attempt at doing some kind of like a self-portrait, and I wanted to mostly invoke the energies of kind of who I am, kind of the characteristics of who I am, and who I would say who I feel I would be. And self-portraits, sorry for the car that passed by, self-portraits don't necessarily have to be a mirror image of yourself. It could be an animal, it could be a scenery, it could be any kind of thing that you feel represents you. In my definition, in my experience, I guess in my definition of what I feel a self-portrait could be, it could be anything that you feel represents you. And in my case, I wanted to do a kind of, not necessarily a lifelike portrait, but more of just a concept of how I would like to be represented, if that makes sense. So I definitely tapped into more of my witchy vibes and more of that Goddess Morgan energy that surrounds me, Mama Morgan. And I wanted to give it a little bit of that crow aspect as well, and so I really wanted to put in those energies. There's a little bit of this divine masculine energy in the image as well. I try to do that with the kind of solar kind of crown with the halo in a sense, but keeping it still kind of astral and witchy, and incorporating that a little bit of that god energy, because I'm still kind of like tipping my toes in that god water. I'm not really into that masculine role yet. It's still taking me a really long time, and it's a tough, challenging experience to tap into that god energy, just because I've been working with the goddess energy for so long. So it's a little weird, or as I say, a little foreign. I would say foreign. But I want to talk about why this piece in particular has been pretty powerful and profound for me, especially we're at the stage that I am now spiritually. And the reason I've kind of put quotations over the spiritual part is because I haven't felt like I've been, I don't know, like I haven't felt like I've done anything really magical or witchy in a sense. And you know, I hate comparing myself to others, but I always see other people really excelling in their life in a very magical way, in their lifestyle. And this has been the longest little funk that I've been in. It's almost a full year. I would say it's already I think it's already been a year, a little bit over a year now that I think about the time frame. I think May marked the year, so now we're in June, and so it's been a whole year and some days that I've been in this funk, and I haven't really felt like I've moved forward, not necessarily feeling like I moved back. I feel like I'm just standing still at, you could say, at a crossroads, or I don't know, it does feel like I'm at a crossroads at the moment. So in the beginning of last year, I went through a lot of changes and a lot of moments of depression, a lot of kind of calling it quits when it comes to being a witch and figuring that stuff out. As with the work with the goddess Morgan, I felt like she abandoned me because it was almost like, it was weird because it was literally, I could feel that there is a disconnect and her presence was definitely missed. I could feel like there was an absence of her presence. And so that was really tough, but it was also one of the strongest lessons. So what I took from that experience is, obviously she didn't leave me, but she did step aside enough for me to see what I would do without her, to see if I would sink or swim, to see if I would surrender or fight, and to see how easily I was swayed, because there was moments in that kind of rebellious thing, well, you know, kind of screw you, I feel abandoned, I'm gonna go ahead and pick a different Patreon at that point. And there was this one goddess that came in, which is Oshun. And for those of you are familiar with the kind of Santeria, kind of like the African deities, Oshun is kind of like their Aphrodite in a way. She's all about gold and sunlight and sunflowers and water energy, has very Yemaya energies, as well as the overall richness in life and golden butterflies and all that stuff. And so she's very beautiful and she's very enticing. And in midst of all that kind of darkness, it was refreshing to have her presence pop in a little bit. And it was very easy I felt that it was kind of easy for me to sway in that direction, just because it felt easier. And anybody that works with the goddess Morgan knows that it's not an easy relationship. The lessons are difficult, and the lessons are very challenging in the sense of emotional, physical, mental, spiritual. It's like, it's hard work. It's a lot of work. And but at the end of the day, after I kind of sat with myself and realized that I wasn't ready to end the relationship with the goddess Morgan, and I asked her, I was like, I'm not sure if this is a test, I'm not sure if this is the end of our relationship, but I'm not ready to let that go. I'm not ready to let you go as a teacher, as a mentor. What is my next challenges, or what do I need to do to prove myself that I'm very devoted and loyal? And I had a dream where I don't know if you remember this last meditation I did, where it was almost like this broken down cathedral. Well, in my dream, I was back at the cathedral and I was wearing a red robe. And I remember in that dream I was crying a lot and I was on my knees. And as my tears were kind of falling to the ground, I noticed that they were falling at the feet of the Morgan. And then she stood and she kind of lifted me up on my chin and I kind of woke up. So I took that as a lesson, past a lesson, I guess. Kind of like, I guess that was the overall challenge for that time. And so this was a couple months ago, almost, I would say maybe December, January-ish, where I kind of feel like, okay, so she didn't abandon me. The relationship can still move forward. But even though she came back, or I feel like she came back, I'm still kind of at a crossroads of where to go now. Where the road continues, what's happening. And I was guided to keep my practice very private. So I didn't feel necessarily guided to share anything magical, like any spell work, anything that was working specifically with her. It was I felt very strongly guided not to share anything. It's almost like she wanted this to be a one-on-one, not to be diluted by anybody else's inputs or energies. And so I haven't shared anything. I've been journaling a lot. I've been doing my own tarot deck. It's been a whole year since I stopped doing readings for people. And so I've only been doing readings for myself. So it has become more of an intimate practice. And I'm starting to feel a little bit like I'm finding my ground again in terms of my... just feeling a little bit more witchy, I guess, if I could say that. I still haven't done anything where I feel super magical, and I feel like I missed that. There's a huge part of myself that misses that old Eric witch of kind of like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where I was really in my witchy prime, I guess I would call it, when I was really like doing all kinds of sort of things. I was meeting so many different people, was going through different like rituals, and I was going to different like like listening to people talk about certain things and reading a lot of books, and I haven't done any of that for a little over a year, and I kind of miss it. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking, am I past that? Am I done learning from people? Is it time for me to learn from myself? Is it time for me to figure what that looks like without having anybody else's experience, anybody else's suggestions kind of interfere with that? And that kind of feels like it's the right path, but at the same time, it's kind of nerve-wracking because I don't know what that looks like or what it's supposed to look like, and I'm not sure what the first steps are. So yeah, so that kind of got me into a little bit of funk, and that's kind of where I've been for this past kind of year, in the middle of I have no idea what I'm doing, pretty much, or what I should be doing. But definitely this art year, this year that I dedicate to art, has really helped me break through some blocks, because I think each piece has helped me meditate in some way, and to release something and to vocalize an inner feeling that I needed to you know, I guess kind of work through, or to represent, or to communicate in that sense. So that has been really helpful. And these last few pieces, I feel like I really allowed myself to break some barriers and move past some limiting beliefs as myself as an artist, and see what I'm able to create. And so this, kind of to bring it back full circle, I guess, this particular piece with this self-portrait, it was my way of letting myself know that I am still that powerful, confident, compassionate witch that I've come to grow and accept. And it was one of those moments of like, I really feel like this would be a good starting point and a dedication or declaration to move forward in my practice and to start manifesting some powerful shit. So I'm really excited, I think, for what's going to happen next. I posted a couple times in Facebook or Instagram that I've been tapping a lot into water energy, and I've always, even though I'm a fire sign, I always strongly resonated with the Queen of Cups, because I am also an emotional roller coaster. I tap in very easily into my psychic abilities. Sometimes I feel like they're pretty strong, and I don't mean that in a cocky, confident way. I mean that in a kind of, it makes me feel paranoid, and it takes me into some really dark places, and it's not easy for me to figure out what the truth is, whether it's a lie. And so I'm always constantly in my head, and so I always see myself as the Queen of Cups in many aspects, because I'm so easily swayed. So my moods come, it's like a roller coaster. Some people, I don't know how to describe it. So Queen of Cups, I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, so all that water energy, I kind of felt like something was coming up to the surface, something was boiling up, and it was about to present itself. And as excited as I am for that, it still leaves me a little bit nervous and anxious about what's going to happen next, but it feels like it's all good stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I just wanted to share with you guys what's been happening, what I've been doing pretty much magically. I haven't worked in my grimoire, which I feel really strongly guided to work on some pages and then do like an updated video from my last video in 2016, and kind of see where I go from there. But yeah, I'm still gonna hold off on sharing any spell work, any magical stuff besides just my art, which is in a sense a lot of what I'm magically doing now. But I just want to thank you guys again for all your love and support, and for watching all this magical artwork kind of manifest and take shape. And we'll see where things go. And my goal again at the end of this year is to kind of see how much I've grown and developed as an artist and as a person, and I think that's going to be exciting. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I wish you so many blessings, and it feels like summer already, so happy summer. Blessed be.